This month is Oesophageal Cancer Awareness Month, and new research shows that while heartburn is very common, many people don't recognise persistent symptoms as a possible early warning sign of esophageal cancer. Joining us now is Pat Barry from Ennis, a patient ambassador with the Oesophageal Cancer Fund. Pat's 2 years post-surgery and has a remarkably positive story to share about recovery awareness and the importance of getting symptoms checked early. Pat, thanks for joining us in studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan.
You're 2 years on from surgery and full of life. How are you feeling these days?
I feel well, Alan. I always try to be positive as much as I can. I look at the glass half full rather than half empty, always, on most aspects of life. My situation was that, we'll say we go back to maybe late 22, where I, generally speaking, esophageal cancer presents where there's a blockage. In my case, that was not in my case, what I had was, I would suggest, was a discomfort, and I went to my GP, Tony Cox, who referred me to Owen Condon in Limerick, whom I had been with before because I had my gallbladder removed 2 years prior to 22. And he done an endoscopy, and I spoke with him afterwards, and he was really positive. He didn't see much of an issue at the time. But I suppose maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that, I got a phone call of a Thursday evening from his secretary to know could I call in the following day and to bring somebody with me. This kind of shook me at the time. I went in and I met him, and he said that when he done the endoscopy, he took a biopsy, and he wasn't really happy with it. And he was suggesting that I had what was called Barrett's esophagus, which is a kind of a... People live with it, but he suggested then that he would refer me to Tom Murphy at the Morrissey in Cork. I went to Tom Murphy in Cork, and he had seen the results of that endoscopy and suggested that he could do what was known as an ablation, basically where they kind of burn off, we'd say, the cells as they see it.
Okay.
He'd done that and took me back afterwards, and he thought initially that this would sort me, but it didn't really, and he brought me back again, and he sent me for a PET scan to Dublin, and that found that I had stage 3 esophageal cancer. And
when you heard that, Pat, what was your reaction? I mean, to hear you have cancer must be startling. To hear it was stage 3, was it kind of huge concern? Was there slight relief? It wasn't stage 4? How were you feeling?
I'll have to be honest with you, Alan. I wasn't really too put out. You know what I'm saying? I come from a nursing background. I was in Limerick, a mental health nurse in Limerick for 43 years. And I was positive enough about it. I said that, sure, they'll fix me, you know. So he then, as I said to you, after the PET scan, it saw that I had stage 3 cancer. But just, there's a good friend of mine who has, and lives in this town, who has stage 4 cancer, and I met him one day and he said to me, Pat, he says, it's all about being positive, you know. And do
you feel that plays a large part of the PMA, positive mental attitude?
Oh, big time, yeah.
It's not just a feeling, it has an effect on your body.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's easy. As I said to you, I remember a friend of mine before who had cancer, and he says it's very easy to be positive at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're looking at a ceiling, you know, and you're wide awake, you know. But my family around me, I suppose, were a big support to me, and that was a big help, I must suggest. But then Tom Murphy will say he decided that I would have to probably have an operation, you know, and remove my esophagus. So I went on chemo for October, November of 23. No problem with that chemo. And then I was to have an operation on the 14th of February, which was brought forward because there was a cancellation, and I had the operation on the 26th of January. No, on the 25th of January, I was slating a roof, you know.
So this wasn't impeding your life. I mean, you've a busy background, farming, construction, nursing. I know Gaelic Games features prominently as well. King golfer. Did any of that fall by the wayside? Have to fall by the wayside? Did you have to reduce any elements of your life because of what you were going through, or it was very much business as usual?
Oh, I was driven. I'd stay going.
You'd stay going.
Yeah, no backward step. No.
As a because this is what you like, all those things you like doing anyway, Pat, or was it I've never needed distractions more than now?
Well, no, I would say that the hardest thing to do in a day, Alan, is nothing. You know,
can that just lead to catastrophizing in your own mind, or as you say, staring up at a ceiling, thinking about what you're going through?
Well, if you spend too much time at home, I suppose you'd have to fall in love again. You know, so so I would always try and be out as much as I could. You know, I come from a farming background, always involved in construction or something like that. Even though I was a mental health nurse, I always diversified to these in my time off. You know what I'm saying? So
the 25th of January, you're slating the roof. The next day you're in.
Yes,
and all good in that regard.
No, this is where I went wrong. Well, to a point. I had the operation, all went well. You understand? Just to go through in layman's terms, some surgeons actually do a frontal approach to removing your esophagus. In my case, it was coming in from behind me, under my shoulder blade at the back, where they collapse your lung and remove your esophagus. You know, and but 4 days post-operation, I'll say, I got sepsis. You know, I got an infection on it. We say I was being fed through my side, like it's similar to a peg feed, and that side became infected, and that really knocked me. I was in intensive care for 9 days, then on 5 antibiotics, I remember at the time, and I'll tell you, I was as compromised as anybody ever.
I think we're all too aware how dangerous sepsis can be.
Yes, I had to be helped to go to the toilet, everything. I was completely incapacitated then for a period of time. What initially was led out to be maybe 10 to 12 days in the Morrissey in Cork, I was there over 6 weeks, you know. I came out of that, I was pretty shook at that time. I lost 17 kilos in weight.
You must have been feeling, physically, I guess, maybe emotionally weak at that time.
You're drained. You're absolutely drained. It's an experience, and I'll tell you, Alan, you have to go through it to understand it. You understand? You're drained. You're mentally drained. Like, people will say to you, and some people had come to visit me at that time thinking that they wouldn't see me anymore. You know, I was pretty shook. You know, but I suppose.
Did you ever harbour those thoughts, Pat? You might not come out the other side.
Oh, I did, yes. Yeah. I did, for sure I did, yeah, I did, to be honest, yeah, I was so shook. You know, from somebody, as I said to you, I refer back to it again, from slating a roof on the 25th of January to being helped, to having 2 nurses specing you 24 hours a day, you know, you're gone from flying around
one extreme to the other.
Yeah, you know, and I was fairly compromised, as I said to you, at that time. But I came out of it then, and I was at home, and I used to do little bits, you know, but then I had to go on chemo again, you know. I had 4 rounds of chemo afterwards. It's FLOT, as they call it, is the name for it. And that really shook me, you know. That flattened me, you know. And the diet was the big issue, you know. I had no taste, and what I was used to eating maybe 4 or 5 potatoes with every meal was reduced to 1, and has been since, you know. My diet now consists of small and often, you know, but
do you mind that? I mean, it's a bit of a change, but not a drastic change.
No, I have no problem with it. No, you know, as I said to you, I lost 17 kilos or 19 kilos, whatever it was, you know. I now feel I have the body of Tarzan, you know what I'm saying, you know.
Thankfully, you're wearing a bit more clothes than Tarzan this morning.
So, yeah.
I mean, so it took, you know, recovery and all of that, Pat. How long did that all take before you were feeling fighting fit again?
I would have to suggest to you that I'm still in the recovery mode, and I'm 2 years post-operation, you know. And you see, you must recognise, like, I'm minus my gallbladder, I'm minus my esophagus. So I was never going to be what I was. Yeah. But I'm 65 years of age in a month's time, so the numbers are rising, you know. So you're never going to be. I'm never going to be 40 again, you know. But that's, I suppose, the thing you have to factor into life anyway, you know.
In general, with esophageal cancer, the symptoms, persistent heartburn, difficulty swallowing, they're 2 of the key symptoms. What would you say to people maybe who are constantly self-treating these symptoms, who aren't, you know, who are going through them and thinking, sure, that's nothing massive, you know, and they're putting off going to their GP? Or
that's where the problem lies, if you know what I mean. There was a good friend of mine who is no longer with us that didn't go in time, you know. You see, if you actually look at ads on TV now, I see they're actually ads there for Nexium, you know, and as far as I can see, half the country are on Nexium, you know, because for indigestion or whatever, or Gaviscon, you know. These things don't cure. You know what I'm saying? That a short term may be released as something that's maybe there. You know, as I said to you, in my situation, I didn't have a problem swallowing. You know, not like Ken Butler, a guy that was in here before with you, where he got. You know, there was a blockage, you know what I'm saying?
Kind of the classic symptoms.
Yes, but I didn't. I had just a discomfort, you know, and I was kind of treating it with antacids, you know. You had the reflux, and you see, what happens, Alan, is that reflux comes and then it becomes a culture or a part of your life without you knowing it, you know what I'm saying? And you say, it's there, and you know...
It's just one of these things I'm going to have to deal with.
Yes.
Or maybe not deal with it, as the case may be, because I guess if these symptoms are persistent, Pat, you'd be urging people, go get it.
Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah, because and it's not an age thing either, because there are two people. There's two people not too far from here, and they're only in their 30s that have esophageal cancer. You know.
Yeah, and that's important to hear for people who think this is something that, you know,
no, it's not an age thing. And another thing I will say to you, Tin, it seems to be more men, like, and I have gone to several talks and seminars around the country, like, and I'd say it would be 80-20 men, you know.
Okay, well, that is something, and that's even more important, I guess, to highlight that, Pat, because we're talking about people putting off or putting on the long finger going to their doctor.
Yeah.
Quite often when we talk about that, the one gender tends to be more reticent about going to the doctor than others, and that is men, which is important in a context of what you're saying about it. It tends to be males who are dealing with esophageal cancer more. How has your experience just finally changed your perspective on health and looking after yourself? And, you know, now you're in this role as an ambassador, urging others, be they men or women, to go get checked if they think they're going through the symptoms.
Oh, for sure, you must, because, you know, you must recognise, like, that in general, life is a short trip. It can be, you know what I'm saying? You know, you get to, as I often say, like, you pull out a tape to 8 inches, you know, and you find out that you're at 65 and there's only an inch left, you know what I'm saying? So you better make the best of it while you can, because we don't know that there's another tomorrow, you know. So what I would suggest, like, is, as I say to any people with this long-term indigestion or whatever, to go and get yourself checked out. Like, it doesn't cost a lot, you know. So, you know, point in wishing you did.
Yeah, you don't want to be regretting that. That is for sure. Look, this month is Oesophageal Cancer Awareness Month. The Oesophageal Cancer Fund's Lollipop Day, really important initiative. That's going to be happening on the 27th and 28th of February. Pat, thank you for joining us to share your story and to urge others to get checked if they think they're dealing with the symptoms. Thanks very much for being with us on Morning Focus.
Thank you, Alan. Great to be here. Pat
Barry there with us, patient ambassador with the Oesophageal Cancer Fund from Ennis on Morning Focus.